Hello and welcome to Scott's Garage. Today I want to talk about grass. Maybe not that grass you're thinking of, but grass like in your yard, like this. And if you're like me, you kind of pride yourself on a nice looking lawn. But there are certain creatures out there in the world that will sabotage your grass at every turn. And unfortunately, the creature that I'm talking about, his name is Willy. Willy the dog, love him to death, but when he pees, he ruins my grass. He leaves big spots, yellow spots everywhere that die. And let's see, I don't really like the idea. I've done some research about giving the dog a different food to keep it from, ruining my grass, or putting something in the water. He's kind of an old dog, and I don't really want to, be putting different substances in it. He's on sort of a veterinary diet anyway, and so I don't really want to put anything in his food or water. So we have a system here that I'm going to show you that we're using now. So this is the side yard that Willy can come out. The gate's usually closed there, and he can do his business on that pad. And it's, I try to take him for a walk every day so he can do his business outside. But in the event that we can't, we're busy doing something, he has a place to go rather than inside the house. And then what I did is I hastily constructed this system of a clothes basket, a trash can, and a foldable table to block him off from the grass area here. But the problem with this hastily constructed barrier is anytime the wind blows, which sometimes we have Santa Ana winds or rainstorms, it blows over this table, it blows over this piece of wood, rain fills that bucket. It's just kind of a nightmare in the middle of the night to hear that crashing. So I was trying to think of, could we come up with a better system for creating something that we could put here that would look nice, wouldn't fall over, but would be removable if we want to have a party or something. So the first thing I want to do is take some measurements. I want to build a system here that spans this entire area that will block it off from Mr. Willy. So what I want to do here is build something that goes right underneath this lip. So right at 30 inches should be just about fine. Yeah, 107 ought to do it. So I want the barrier to kind of fit against this and then span this distance, fit up to here, but be held by this. So that'll kind of keep it all together from moving much. So let's go into the garage and do some drawings and see what we can come up with. All right, so we've moved to the garage. Let's try to come up with a good design. Okay, so I have some ideas here, and I think this is what I might do. Something like, if I could build a frame out of wood and make it in several sections. So if I had a section like this is going to be the full span of 107. That's 107. And let's make this 30 inches. Let's do this here, 107. But if we made it in like 3 equal pieces, so I'm not going to measure like what's equal here. You get the idea. And then I made 3 rectangles. We're all the same size, and screwed them together, made them out of wood, screw them together, and then if I added chicken wire through here, just staple it on with a staple gun, chicken wire, and then added some feet that kind of came out here on each side to kind of hold it up, and of course extending over on the other side. Then I could just pick this whole thing up and move it aside if I needed to get to it, or put it in place. The wind would go through here because there's nothing solid, and it would be light and easy and cheap to make. I have chicken wire. I'll get down out of the attic right now, and then let me show you some wood that I bought. So I went to Home Depot and I bought um, a package of this wood. I didn't really need 9 of these. I only needed about 30 feet, but and these are 8 footers. But it came in such a nice package. It was all banded together, and it was easy to transport. It were $3 each, so whatever 3 times 9 is, 27 plus tax. It was like $30. So I can probably use these for something else. Put the rest of them in the shed, and I think that'll work great for our purposes. I don't know why I have so much chicken wire. I think I had to buy a big bundle of this. Ooh, spiderweb. But it's nice to have. So, 3 panels. So let's just draw one of them and we'll make 3 identical panels. What I did is I went through several iterations of my measurements. So I was trying to figure out whether I should make it that way, the vertical pieces going all the way to the bottom, or the horizontal pieces going all the way to the sides. And why I was calculating it in different ways is to look at my material usage. So my start of my wood, each piece of wood is 96 inches. 96 inches long. So that's what I'm starting with. I want to try to get my best use out of this without having any scrap. If I was to do 107 divided by 3 and just have the 3 pieces, the full span. So 1/3 of 107 is about 35 and let's see, 5/8 or 35 and a half, somewhere in there, around there. So if I was to try to get 3 pieces out of that, you can see even at 35, we're going to be at 70, 105. So that's not going to work. Let's say, well, let's try to get 2 of the pieces out of there. So if I go 2 pieces this way, that's 70, and that only leaves me with 26. So 70 minus 26, minus 96 is 26, and that's not big enough to cut those vertical spans. I think they were about like 27 inches or something like that. So I would have had a lot of scrap. I could have cut 2 pieces out of it, and I would have had a lot of scrap. But what I did is when I changed it to just spanning the inside, 32 and 13/16. So let's just say that's 33. So then you have 66. So that leaves you with 30 inches extra plus a little bit. And that's going to fit perfectly for one of these vertical spans. So I'm going to have a 32 and 13/16, a 32 and a 13/16, and then a 30 inch. And so I'm going to get 2 of these and 1 of those out of each piece. So then I can do that times 3 pieces. So I'll get 6 of these, and I'll have 3 of these, and then I can take the last piece and cut 3 pieces at 30, and that'll only leave me with 6 inches of waste and a little bit. Luckily, these are actually about 96 and a quarter, which leaves me with almost no waste whatsoever, just the saw thickness. So so then number 4 piece will be 3 at 30, 30, 30, and 30, and I'll have almost no waste whatsoever. So it's a little bit over the top for this particular project, but it's a great example of how you can reshuffle things in your pieces and your cut pieces, and you can really reduce scrap, save yourself some money, and this. All right, so now we have our cut list, 6 pieces this way, and I have to be mindful that I'm going to be cutting them in a certain way. I'm going to cut 2 of these and then 1 of these out of each piece of scrap. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to line up 3 pieces on the saw and cut 2 of these each. Then I'll have all 6. And then with my scrap, I'll cut those to size at 30. And then the last piece will be, the 4th piece will be 3 pieces at 30. So let's go ahead and do that. Maybe it'll make a little more sense once I get cutting. Okay, well, sorry about the sound, folks. I bumped my tripod, my phone fell, and broke my microphone. So I'm gonna have to go with just the regular microphone. So I took off the 3 price tags and clamped them together nice and straight here. And then I'll measure my dimension and cut all of these to length. 32 and 13/16. Put these 3 pieces back up here. And we line them up. Clamp them. I can just feel it over here, feel it with my finger, and then put my mark there, and let's saw. Okay, so these are going to be cut at 30. So let's clamp all 3 of these. Let's measure 30, and we'll cut them. Whoa! Look at this. Wait, you gotta see this. Okay, so I just want to show you this. This is a thing of beauty. Bam! Right at 30. Right on. Okay, so let's unclamp these. And of course it has a price tag on it. You know what? I'm just gonna go and take all the price tags off of all of these pieces. Well, does anybody else hate the stapled and barcode plastic thingies? It was a big pain to remove. It took a while, and I just freaking hate it. So, Home Depot, wood companies, whatever, I don't like how you put the barcode on the wood. It's a pain in the ass. Don't do it. And then, you saw how nicely this wood looked when it was all bundled up. Buyer beware. Look, these are some of the pieces that were in there. And of course, they put the good side out. Look at this piece. It's completely, and they hide all this into the middle of the thing. So that's why at Home Depot, everybody breaks these apart and they sort through them. Look at how crooked this one is once you take the bundle off. There's some good ones, you know, there's some good pieces. But look at the very end of that one, how bent that is. Okay, and again, I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to use my piece. It's kind of one of those things where as long as they're all the same size, it's going to work out okay. So let's go with that. And this is kind of a good little lesson here. So the line happened to go right where these knots are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually kind of go slow and let the saw blade cut through. These knots are a lot harder, and they can split out and break out. And so I'm just going to go kind of slow and let the saw do a lot of the work. That saw blade's awesome. So I'm not going to then measure off of this, because then you get to the game of telephone. What I'm going to do is then measure using my same piece again. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is my 6th piece of the upper uprights. And that's going to be my waist right there. My scrap. Those couple little pieces of that, and then I'm going to turn it around. You always kind of want the long piece on this side of the saw. You know, because it's sort of set up for a right-hander. And that's it. That's my only scratch. And then it's going to go something like this, like a vertical, and then it goes like this, right? So I need some way to hold it to screw in that way. Let me think. So in my workmate, I have the horizontals clamped here, and then I have the verticals clamped here because we're going to go from the outside of the vertical and into the end of the horizontal. That's according to our plan. And I think what I'm going to do is do it with 2 different drills. Well, okay, so I lengthened the amount that this drill sticks out. What I kind of want to do is do a countersink and go all the way through this first piece and just kind of start in the second piece. Cool, so we'll just do that another, I don't know how, 12 times. Okay, so we have the first one, the first rack done, and I think I see a problem. How do I get this out of here? Oh no, that was dumb. Okay, number 1. So he's going to go on the ground like this. Horizontal, horizontal, vertical, vertical. And of course this is 30 because we've already measured that. And this is, come on, about 35 and 5/8. Yep, right on. 35 and 5/8 times 3 will be just under 107. Just enough to give me a little play, but not too much. So we can put this aside and get ready for the chicken wire, but let's do the other 2 right now. This one is really good, but I think the other ones I'm going to have to give them a bit of a tweaky poo. So before I do the chicken wiring, I'm going to kind of check them for square, but that one looks good. Otherwise I'd kind of like go, you know, kind of like that. Okay, so now's the time for the staple gun and a whole box of staples, 3/8. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to do all the way around and times 3 and cut it out with some wire cutters, and then I think we'll be done. Ready to go. Okay, so that's one. We'll put that aside. You know, something just occurred to me. There's somebody suspiciously absent from this build. Have you seen him lately? No? Haven't seen him anywhere today. I think he's just hiding out because he knows what's coming. Ooh, that is really out of whack. I wonder if we can get it in whack. So after all that, I realized that the chicken wire is like 36 inches wide, and this is 35 and 13/16. So this would fit perfect without any cutting. Huh. Boy, that was kind of dumb. But, you know, what are you going to do? And then I cut it too short here, so this is kind of messed up. All right, so now let's screw all three of these together into one big, long, gigantic monstrosity of wood and chicken wire. Whew. Man, I'm pooped. There was a lot of this and a lot of this. Man, my hand is just done. But I got it done. Glad I did. This is going to be a nice thing you can remove. It's easy to carry around. And it was a lot harder project than I thought it was going to be. Not harder, but a lot more work. I think just a lot of steps putting all those things on. So anyway, I think it came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And let's see, I don't know if you can see Willy. Come here. Come over here. What do you think? Gonna keep you out of the grass? Maybe? Huh? Okay. Well, I think it'll do its job. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Scott's Garage. Can I sit on it? Very comfortable. Phew. I need a drink.